I have to give Joshua a shout out because Joshua is the reason why I'm making this video about scams that you need to watch out for if you're going to teach abroad. I became acquainted with Joshua just from being a part of these Facebook groups. Facebook, you have a lot of teaching abroad groups and people who are interested in teaching abroad. And I think I posted a video that Joshua saw and he commented on it, and then we continue to communicate. And I know that Joshua is from Ghana. He's looking to teach abroad. He wanted to teach in China, and I think he still wants to teach in China, but he has his options open. He was communicating with a person. I'm not sure what company they're a part of. I'm not really sure, but the person he was communicating with explained to Joshua that before he's issued a visa to work in China, that he has to pay a certain amount of money up front. I can't remember exactly how much. If I remember correctly, was it 500 US dollars? But I know that that's not right. You should never have to pay money up front for anything regarding teaching abroad. Okay, so I'm going to talk more about that in my video, so check me out. Ni hao, hi everyone, welcome back to Teacher World. Today, I want to focus on the scams that you need to watch out for if you're going to teach abroad, because who wants to get beat out of their money? Because I taught in China for 3 years, I know the steps and the course of action to take. Apply on an international recruitment company. When you apply on an international recruitment company, you have access to different opportunities. You have access to employment from different companies worldwide. So that's why I recommend applying on international recruitment companies, and Teachaway is a great website for that. I talk a lot about Teachaway because that is the route that I took to teach abroad, and dealing with Teachaway, you know that you're dealing with a company that's reputable, that's been around. It's not a fly-by-night kind of organization. And you are kept up to date as of everything that's happening with your application and how to proceed forward. So I would say apply to teach abroad on an international recruitment company. Now, along with that, the recruiter should not be asking for you to make any payment, any fees up front. You should not be paying for anything. If I could think of the only thing you have to pay for would be your visa. And by paying for your visa, they'll reimburse you once you get into the country. Well, depending on the recruitment company that you're dealing with, but if you had to pay for anything, it would be your visa. Next, you have to send your CV, and they take a look at your CV and then they'll set up an interview. I think that it's better to have an interview where you can see the person face to face. Dealing with someone over the phone, you have no idea what they look like. You could judge someone's character, especially when you're having a conference or a meeting that you can see them face to face, because you can't have the interview in person. Because of COVID, everything has been web conferences. So whoever's not doing web conferences in 2023, you gotta get with the times. I'm not saying that if you don't have an interview via web conference, it's not legit. That you should be on the lookout for to know if the person that you're communicating with is really reputable, if they're really reliable. Another thing that you should look out for, if the person who you're communicating with, what about their email address? Does it end in a Gmail or a Yahoo or AOL? Who still uses AOL? But does it end in those type of domains, or does it end in a company organization? That's something that you have to be on the lookout for, because anyone could create an email address. If it's connected to a company, then you know that probably nothing shady going on here. Now, another thing that you should watch out for, does it sound too good to be true? Are they offering a large salary for less work hours? That doesn't sound right. Now, I can't even tell you what the work hours would be because it all depends on the company that you're applying to. I would say do research and see whatever company that you're applying to, whatever school you're applying to, research the school. Research the school. See how long has the school been around. Okay, did they just open up? Have they been around? Get reviews. What are people saying about that school on the internet? Is there any information to be found about that school? If it's not, you know it's not legit. So I would just scratch that and leave it alone. Another thing that you need to watch out for is whatever you were discussing regarding the contract, is it the same thing on paper? People could tell you certain things, and then when you get it on paper, you're so quick to sign. I don't know about you, so I'm not going to speak for you, but there has been times that having a discussion about something, and then when I get the paperwork, I just go off to signing it and not really reading what is entailed. But when it comes to teaching abroad, moving into a different country, you got to look that contract over. Don't just sign it, read it. Make sure that whatever they told you is the same thing that's on paper. Also, the contract should be written in multiple languages. So make sure that it's in a language that you can understand. It should be English. Another thing to watch out for. So these job postings. Let's say that you're not going to apply for a teaching abroad job at an international recruitment company. But then you see these postings about teaching abroad in the advertisement. For that advertisement, does it make sense? Are there grammatical errors? Are there spelling errors? The post typed in all caps? These are things to watch out for, because if you have spelling errors, grammatical errors, I would probably stay away from that, because then if that's not right, if they can't even present themselves in a way to communicate effectively, then I don't think I want to do business with that particular person. Be careful for those job postings. That's why I would recommend going on teachaway.com. Teachaway is not the only website that you can apply to for teach abroad jobs, but take a look at Teachaway and go through information that's presented there for you, because Teachaway offers a lot of information that helps people who are looking or thinking about teaching abroad for the first time. Another thing that you should pay attention to is the TEFL certification. TEFL certification is needed for you to teach abroad. It stands for Teaching English as a Foreign Language. So if you don't have that TEFL certificate, then you have to get one. Now, you may hear other people say that if you're a certified teacher, you don't need a TEFL certificate. For this particular country, you don't need a TEFL certificate. Honestly, I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to get that TEFL. I am a certified teacher in New York. But although me being a certified teacher in New York, I still needed a TEFL certificate to work for English First. My thing is, it doesn't hurt to have it, because you're going to gain the experience and the knowledge of teaching English to students whose first language is not English. By getting that TEFL certificate, you're getting the training. The training only helps to make you better. So why not do what makes you better and makes you an asset to that company? Maybe you can move up the ladder, get promotions. The sky's the limit. So get the TEFL. Well, I recommend getting the TEFL. Now, when it comes to getting the TEFL, the standard number of hours that is required is 120-hour TEFL certificate. That's pretty much standard. Companies, countries worldwide, they want that. But you have to be careful where you're applying to get the TEFL, because they're going to offer TEFL training, but it's nothing standard. It's not standard training, and I don't know what non-standard training would look like, but somebody could put anything together and say that it's a TEFL course. You want to apply for the TEFL courses that are accredited by an organization that has vetted their training processes and their standards and how they deliver training. It all comes down to doing your research. I know that Teachaway, they do offer TEFL courses. You could check out Teachaway for their TEFL courses. I know TEFL.org, they offer TEFL courses. I know TEFL Freedom offers TEFL courses, and a lot of these courses can get training online. The thing that you should watch out for the requirements for that particular job. Teaching English abroad, there are certain standards that you must have in order to get the job. You have to have a bachelor's degree, and it does not have to be in education, but as long as you have a bachelor's degree, you can teach abroad, as well as getting that TEFL certificate. Now, when you go for the interview, the language that you're using to communicate, they're going to listen to your English. So yes, they're interviewing you and they're asking you questions, but they're also listening to how you communicate. If you're communicating and it's not standard, it's not fluent, you're not going to get the job, because at the end of the day, you're being hired to teach English as a foreign language to people whose first language is not English. So you want to make sure that you're enunciating properly, that you're speaking clearly, and that's what they're looking for. If you are a non-native English speaker and you're communicating and it's not fluent, and the person that is looking to hire you, they want to hire you anyway, that's something to look out for, because you would not be hired for a job if you're not qualified for the job. Just be careful, because you don't want someone to prey on you, especially you being a non-native English speaker and they're telling you that you're hired and you're excited about being hired, but then they're trying to get your money. So you got to be careful in that regards as well. Certain requirements that will be laid out for you, and they tell you what you need in order to be eligible for that job. The only requirements I can really think of is being a fluent English speaker. You do not have to be a native English speaker. You have to have your bachelor's degree, and you need your TEFL certificate. If you don't have your TEFL certificate, some of the companies that you're applying to, they may sponsor it. They may. And the only companies I could really think of that may sponsor your TEFL would be a private language center. So English First Private Language Center in China, and not just China, but in other countries as well, they sponsored my TEFL. So I did not have to seek out any companies and apply for one. But there may be some companies that will not pay for your TEFL, and that's okay. They don't have to. But once you meet those requirements, then you will be eligible to teach abroad. So just be careful of who it is that you're communicating with, because they will take your money. You'll never hear from them ever again. These were some of the scams that I could think of that you should be on the lookout for if you're going to teach abroad. If there's any other scams that I'm missing, you guys could just let me know in the chat below. Anything else that people should look out for, because my channel is all about helping people, not hurting people. And I want the word to get out to as many people on what they should look out for if they're going to teach abroad. All right, if you have any questions, any comments, please leave it in the comment section below. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.